Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm going to be talking about some Big Finish audio, and we're going to be talking about The War Master Begins, the first story, Light the Flame. I think this is another trilogy. They tend to like trilogies. And this is basically the post-regeneration story for the War Doctor. Yes, the War Doctor Begins. I think that's what I was about to say. Did I say the War Master Begins? The War Doctor Begins. And this is basically the post-regeneration story for the War Doctor. It picks up basically right after Night of the Doctor. I also believe this was the first Big Finish War Doctor story to come out after John Hurt had passed away, because John Hurt did do some War Doctor audios as well. I've actually been listening to some of those. I've listened to two of the Only the Monstrous stories and really enjoyed those. This one's really good. I really like this story. Jonathan, was it Carly, is that his name? Does a really good job sounding like John Hurt. I noticed a slight difference. It's got more of a cry, a little more to his voice than John did, I think. But it's a minor nitpick. It's just something I noticed in the back of my mind. It doesn't bother me. He does a really good John Hurt impersonation. So, and it's nice to get the War Doctor when he's young. You know, the cool hair and the no beard. This is the War Doctor really adjusting pretty quickly to who he is. Matter of fact, he's very grumpy in this one. He's very different from the 8th Doctor, which is not uncommon for a Doctor to almost feel like a reaction to the previous Doctor, where a Doctor is immediately vastly different from his predecessor. That's not uncommon at all. And the War Doctor's like that because he's very much not the Doctor. He's chastising people in the story for calling him Doctor. He's like, I'm not the Doctor. He even refers to the 8th Doctor as he, not as I, as he. Like, he's like, the Doctor was a totally different person because the War Doctor's really separating himself from that. So you still have him on Karn here. He's kind of recovering from his regeneration. He's still talking with the one kind of lead of the Sisterhood of Karn, the one from Night of the Doctor. I think that's the same actress who played her in Night of the Doctor. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that's her. It's basically, you have her, and then you also have another acolyte, a younger girl named Lilith, who is in this as well, who kind of has like a seer ability to kind of see into the future. And then you also have some Time Lords who have showed up, a male and female Time Lord, who have come, they claim, to help protect Karn, to guard the flame of eternal life, or whatever it's called, which I should know at this point. And then there's also another kind of Commander Time Lord figure that's on Gallifrey that communicates to them via the Matrix. I honestly think if Jacqueline Pierce was still alive, it would have been Jacqueline Pierce's character. Because Jacqueline Pierce was in several War Doctor stories before she passed away. I can't talk today. And I feel like it would have been Jacqueline Pierce's character if Jacqueline Pierce had not passed away. But it's still nice. I like, what really sells this one for me is the War Doctor, kind of his journey. I like the story itself. And all of the cast do well. All of the cast do really well in this. And it's not a big cast. But just kind of the War Doctor's journey here is he's kind of, one, he already knows in a way who he is. He's adjusting to his new personality quick. Much quicker than some of them do. He's adjusting more like Matt and Tom did. But still kind of watching him fill into it, so to speak. Especially at the end, because he basically finds out one of the Time Lords is on a covert mission straight from Rassilon to basically steal the flame thing that's at the core of the planet. What makes the flame of eternal life work. They want to transport it from there to Gallifrey so they can use it. And of course, the Sisterhood of Karn is against this. The Doctor is against this. Even the other male Time Lord there is against this. And she's like, well, I'm under orders. And when they contact the Jacqueline Pierce-like character on Gallifrey, once she realizes the jig is up, she kind of throws the other female Time Lord to the wind. Like, well, we didn't know anything about this. Rassilon, while he inspires loyalty, also inspires fanatics. Basically throwing the other one under the bus. And there's some interesting imagery that's done with the sounds, like Lilith summoning, previous sisters. Because apparently when the sisters die, they kind of become one with the flame. They're almost like forced ghosts, like really angry, mad, dangerous forced ghosts from Star Wars, kind of. And so it ends well for the female Time Lord, let us say. I think the main standout scene to me is when you realize just how different the War Doctor is, because he threatens to destroy all of Karn. He's basically trying to convince the Jacqueline Pierce-like counselor, the Time Lord counselor, to put a time lock around the planet so the events of the Time War won't affect it, because there's this huge time storm coming, controlled by the Daleks. And the Doctor's like, I won't let them have Karn. Because he's looking at the little setup that the female Time Lord had to move the core from one planet to the other. He's like, instead of transporting it, I can just destroy this planet. I will not let the Daleks have Karn. He goes, with a flick of my screwdriver, a twist of my screwdriver, I can destroy all of this. And I'm the kind of person now I think I would. Isn't that what you wanted? And I just picture the War Doctor standing there with his sonic screwdriver pointed at the little mechanism behind him like, go on, dare me. You think I won't do it? I'm a whole new man now. And it's like, even the War Doctor maybe he's not quite sure if he'll do it, but he's starting to realize, you know what? I think I'm the kind of person now I will do it, because I'm not the Doctor anymore. That's like the standout scene. The meat and potatoes of the story really are on that scene. And John gives a really good performance as the War Doctor there. He just sells every second of it. And I think, most doctors, if they did that, it would be a bluff. With this Doctor, not so sure. Or I should say, this warrior, not so sure. And so she does put the time lock on it. Although the planet actually disappears before the time lock. Karn just disappears. And the Doctor's like, this is probably what she wanted all along. She just wanted to get all of her chess pieces on the board. So, and it has a nice ending where the other male Time Lord escapes. The Doctor manages to get off the planet too. And we know Karn is eventually all right, because the Sisterhood of Karn show back up in the modern series, like with Capaldi's era. So we know it survives. It was a really good story. It doesn't feel that long. It's probably about an hour long. It does not feel that long. Maybe it's just because if I think about it, an hour long is really just kind of like a little more than a two-parter, maybe 2.5 parts. It does kind of go by. But I was engaged the whole story. Like, I never got bored. I mean, I was tuned in the whole time. It was probably, one, because I thought the story was really good. I thought all of the cast did a really good job. They kept me engaged. And I really liked having a chance to see the War Doctor here, his post-regeneration story, because I was always curious how he became, how he adjusted to being the warrior, so to speak. And he really adjusts to it pretty quick. He already seems like Captain Grumpy. The more optimistic 8th Doctor, which, to be fair, by the events of Night of the Doctor, he wasn't the most optimistic either. He'd been through a lot. But I'm trying to remember. He's referred to by, I think, Lilith in this as Light's champion, maybe. And even the War Doctor is like, as to the 8th Doctor, he was foolish. I mean, he says a lot of complimentary things about the 8th Doctor, but then he's like, but also so foolish to think he could avoid this. And the War Doctor kind of coming to terms that, okay, I'm in this now. But I'm going to do it my way. I'm not taking orders from you Time Lords. I think I'll be better off contributing to the war the best way I think I can. Because the Doctor doesn't like to follow orders, let's be honest. That's most doctors, if not all doctors. So it was really, really good, with that standout moment when the Doctor was threatening to blow up the whole planet being yeah. I wish we'd had more of Lilith, because she did get killed in the story. Even though she got killed, she's kind of in the story a little bit later. But I liked her as a character. I would like to have seen more of her. There was potential companion. She was a good potential companion. There you go. That's the best way I could see it. I could see the potential for her to have been a companion. And that would have been really nice. I really get the impression the War Doctor probably didn't have a lot of companions. I think he ran solo most of the time. It's just the impression I get. I know I read, I think it's called Engines of War, which is a novelization with the War Doctor I liked, and he had a girl that was basically a potential companion with him in it too, and then she died, and it kind of ruined the book for me. But it wasn't a bad book. So I really feel like if he did have companions, it probably didn't end well for them. But I think he probably flew solo a lot. So, Light the Flame from The War Doctor Begins. I liked it. Jonathan does a very good John Hurt. Have you listened to it? What do you think of it? Comment down below. and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon. This was actually a Patreon request from Unknown289. Several different tiers do get Patreon requests. They get to offer every month or suggest every month. And this was one of his, so I do want to give him a shout out. He's one of my top tier patrons, Unknown289. Also, Colin Coney and Sam Venning. I appreciate their continued support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. I also have a P.O. box as well. I also have a link to my Amazon wish list, a link to my Amazon wish list, in case there's anything you want to send me to look at and review, which I always appreciate. Most importantly, thank you for watching.